Every new morning is not just the turning of a page on a calendar, it is the unfolding of divine opportunity. You do not wake up by accident, you wake up because purpose still calls your name. There is breath in your lungs because heaven still has something for you to do on this earth. When you open your eyes in the morning, you must understand that this is not just a routine, it is a reset. God has given you another chance to move closer to your destiny. The rising of the sun is heaven's announcement that your assignment is not yet complete. One of the greatest tragedies in life is not death, but life without purpose. To wake up every day and merely exist, going through the motions, is to deny the greatness that has been placed within you. Purpose is not found in activities or achievements alone. It is found in alignment with the one who created you. Every day you wake up is a reminder that you are a solution to a problem, a carrier of a vision, and a steward of potential. Purpose gives meaning to your morning. It gives direction to your decisions. Without purpose, the morning becomes a burden, but with purpose, the morning becomes a blessing. You see, how you begin your day reveals what you believe about yourself and your calling. If you rise in frustration or hopelessness, it's often because you have lost sight of your why. But when you wake up with the conviction that your life matters, that your time is valuable, and that your actions echo in eternity, you cannot afford to begin your day passively. You are not just waking up to go to work, make money, or survive. You are waking up to lead, to influence, to create, and to fulfill divine intent. You are a leader in your own life, and each morning is your boardroom of decision. The agenda: how will you live today in light of your purpose? Purpose transforms routine into revelation. It makes the ordinary sacred. Brushing your teeth, making your coffee, reading, journaling, all of these small things become instruments of alignment when done with purpose. Purpose reminds you that you are not living for success alone, but for significance. Success is what you chase when you don't know why you exist. But when you discover purpose, success chases you. This is why waking up positive is not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about remembering that you were created with intention. It's not about denying problems, but about declaring truth in the face of them. You can wake up positive not because your circumstances are ideal, but because your purpose is unshaken. The morning is your moment of agreement with God's plan for your life. The first words you speak, the first thoughts you entertain, they either reinforce your purpose or erode your potential. So be intentional. Speak life. Think purposefully. Meditate on truth. When purpose is your focus, discipline becomes natural. You won't need to be pushed when you know where you're going. Purpose awakens energy, clarity, and perseverance. You begin to see every morning not as an obligation, but as an opportunity. It's your chance to sow seeds into the ground of destiny. It's your time to realign, refocus, and reignite the fire within. You were not created to simply survive mornings. You were designed to command them. You are made in the image of the Creator. That means you are called to create, and your morning is your canvas. Don't let negativity, distraction, or routine paint it for you. Take control. Step into it with gratitude, with vision, and with determination. Declare, "This is the day the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it," not because it is easy, but because it is purposeful. So the next time your alarm goes off, don't just wake up, rise up. Wake up knowing that the world is better because you are in it. Wake up understanding that time is a gift and purpose is your compass. Wake up with expectation, knowing that today holds divine appointments, new growth, and the unfolding of destiny. Wake up positive because you were born to make a difference. Wake up on purpose, with purpose and for purpose. That is the true power of a morning aligned with destiny. What you think first thing in the morning is not a small detail. It is the foundation upon which your entire day is built. The mind is the battlefield of success and defeat, and the war begins the moment you open your eyes. Your first thoughts shape your direction, your decisions, and ultimately your destiny. If you do not master your mindset in the morning, you risk spending the rest of your day reacting to life instead of leading it. This is why it is critical to take control of your mind before the world begins to speak into it. The human mind is like soil. Whatever you plant in it, especially in the morning, will grow throughout the day. Plant negativity, and your day will be rooted in fear, frustration, and limitation. Plant positivity, and your day will be marked by courage, focus, and productivity. The challenge is that many people allow their minds to be passive receivers of random thoughts instead of active builders of intentional ones. But you must not treat your mind like a dumping ground. You must treat it like sacred ground. The morning offers a window of clarity and vulnerability. Your subconscious is most sensitive in the first few minutes of waking. What you hear, what you see, what you say to yourself, it all sinks deep. That's why so many people struggle with anxiety or discouragement before they even leave their bed. Their first thoughts are shaped by regret, stress, or fear. But when you understand that your thoughts are seeds, you realize that you cannot afford to be careless with them. To think positively in the morning is not just motivational, it's transformational. It is a choice to agree with truth, to align with your purpose, and to reject the lies that tell you you're not enough. Your identity must be affirmed daily, because the world will try to redefine you hourly. So you must speak to yourself before the world speaks to you. You must declare, I am focused, I am chosen, I am capable, I am filled with purpose. These are not just affirmations, they are declarations of identity rooted in truth. It's important to know that positivity is not naivete. It's not pretending that challenges don't exist. Positivity is choosing to see with the eye that the eyes of faith rather than it is choosing to believe that despite what you feel or face, something greater is at work within you. When you wake up and choose positive, intentional thoughts, you are not denying reality, you are defining it. You are determining how you will engage with the world, rather than letting the world define how it will engage with you. Discipline is the backbone of a positive morning mindset. You must train your mind like you train your body, consistently and purposefully. Some mornings you won't feel inspired. You may feel tired, discouraged, or even empty, but this is when your mindset matters most. True growth happens when you do what is right, even when it doesn't feel good. You must refuse to surrender your day to emotion. Instead, you commit to principles that you live by, regardless of how you feel. A morning filled with negative thoughts is a day surrendered to defeat before the battle begins. But a morning filled with truth and vision is a day built on a foundation of hope and strategy. It's not about ignoring problems, it's about refusing to let problems define you. Your mind is the gatekeeper of your destiny. You must guard it with intention, feed it with truth, and train it with discipline. One of the most powerful things you can do is start your morning with silence, reflection, and purpose. Don't rush to your phone or the noise of the world. Instead, take time to hear your own thoughts, to write down what you're grateful for, to visualize your goals, and to speak out loud the truths that anchor you. This is not just a routine, it's a ritual of leadership. Because before you lead in your job, your family, or your community, you must first lead your thoughts. The quality of your morning thoughts will influence the quality of your entire life. A positive mindset in the morning creates a ripple effect that touches your emotions, your decisions, your actions, and your results. Every day you are either moving closer to your destiny or drifting further from it, and it begins with what you think the moment you wake up. So don't just wake up thinking like a leader. Wake up with thoughts that empower, inspire, and align you with your calling. Your thoughts are not just thoughts, they are tools. Use them wisely, and you will change not just your day, but your life. A successful morning is not determined by how you feel. It is determined by how you discipline yourself. If you live by emotion, you will always be inconsistent. Emotions fluctuate. They rise and fall based on circumstances, mood, and environment. But principles are steady, unchanging, and reliable. They are not subject to opinion or convenience. If you want to build a life that stands strong, especially in the early hours of the day, you must choose to be led by principles instead of feelings. Many people make the mistake of letting their feelings decide their habits. They wake up and ask themselves, do I feel like getting up early? Do I feel like praying? Do I feel like working out? Do I feel like planning my day? And if the answer is no, they roll over, hit snooze, or scroll aimlessly on their phone. This is how mediocrity becomes a lifestyle. But high achievers, people of purpose, do not ask how they feel. They ask what needs to be done. They operate on values, not vibes. And that distinction makes all the difference. Principles are like rails that keep a train on track. They provide direction and stability. When you set your morning by principle, you eliminate the chaos of emotional indecision. You have already decided the night before, or even long ago, what kind of person you will be when you rise. You've determined that your mornings are sacred, that your mindset is non-negotiable, and that your vision is too important to be left to chance. So whether you feel tired, discouraged, or unmotivated, you still act in alignment with your values. This is the secret behind every great leader, thinker, and visionary. They do not wait to feel inspired to take action. They know that action often precedes inspiration. Discipline brings momentum, and momentum creates breakthroughs. When you wake up and immediately act on what matters, regardless of emotion, you begin to build trust with yourself. You reinforce your identity as a person of commitment and follow-through. That inner trust becomes the foundation for confidence. Living by principle also protects your energy. When you base your actions on feelings, you waste time debating with yourself. Should I get up? Should I exercise? Should I journal? Should I meditate? All this internal back and forth drains your willpower before the day even begins. But when you've already set the standard, when you know your principles and commit to them, you conserve your mental energy for higher decisions. You've freed your mind to focus on creativity, strategy, and growth. It's important to realize that your principles are not just rules. They are declarations of who you are becoming. When you get up early to spend time in reflection, you are declaring, I am a person of vision. When you choose a healthy breakfast, you are saying, I value my body and my energy. When you write down your goals, you are saying, I do not live aimlessly, I live on purpose. Each principle you live by is a brick in the foundation of your future. The difference between those who succeed and those who settle is not talent, it's consistency. And consistency is born out of principle. You must define what matters to you, and then commit to it so deeply that even when your emotions scream otherwise, your discipline speaks louder. Emotions are real, but they are not always right. They are signals, but they should never be steering wheels. Principle-driven mornings lead to principle-driven lives. When you start each day with the right foundation, you are no longer reactive, you become proactive. You're not trying to catch up to life, you are leading it. And as you discipline your mornings, you begin to see growth, not just in your routine, but in your mindset, your relationships, your goals, and your spiritual life. Greatness doesn't begin in the spotlight. It begins in the dark, quiet hours of the morning, when no one is watching. It is shaped by the decisions you make, when it would be easier to stay in bed, or do what's comfortable. But comfort never created anything extraordinary. Principle is the seed of excellence. So choose to lead your morning by principle, and your life will follow with purpose. When you wake up with a vision, you engage your day with discipline. Vision is the fuel of purpose. It gives meaning to your actions and clarity to your decisions. Without a clear vision, mornings become meaningless. You wander through your day, responding to distractions, reacting to demands, and losing momentum before you even begin. But when vision is present, discipline becomes natural. You no longer ask, "Do I feel like doing this?" Instead you ask, "Does this serve my vision?" That one question shifts your entire mindset. Vision is the mental picture of your desired future. It's the image of what could be, fueled by the conviction that it must be. And that image is not passive. It pulls you. It pulls you out of bed. It pulls you out of excuses. It pulls you into action. Without vision, the alarm clock feels like an enemy. With vision, it becomes a friend, a reminder that you've been given another chance to pursue something meaningful. That's why the first battle of the day is not with your body, it's with your mind. If your mind sees clearly, your body will follow with energy and commitment. The reason many people struggle to maintain discipline is not because they lack motivation, it's because they lack vision. Motivation fades. It's emotional, fleeting, and unpredictable. But vision is anchored in purpose. It gives you a reason to endure discomfort. It gives you the strength to say no to distractions and yes to priorities. When your life is anchored in vision, you stop being impressed by the urgent and start being faithful to the important. One of the most powerful things you can do is take a few minutes each morning to reconnect with your vision. Before you pick up your phone or check your messages, check in with your future. What are you building? Who are you becoming? What kind of legacy are you creating with today's actions? Write it down, speak it aloud. Remind yourself that you are not just passing time, you are investing it. Vision makes time valuable. It turns minutes into building blocks. Every habit, every conversation, every choice becomes a step toward the life you are designing. Vision doesn't mean you know every step of the journey. It means you know the direction. It gives you a lens to evaluate every opportunity and every challenge. When you have a vision, even your pain becomes productive. You begin to realize that discomfort is not a signal to quit, it's a sign of progress. Vision helps you reinterpret adversity. Instead of seeing a difficult morning as a bad day, you see it as a necessary part of your growth. Discipline then is not punishment, it's preparation. Without vision, mornings are wasted. You may stay busy, but you won't be effective. You might check boxes, but you won't create momentum. Vision brings alignment. It ensures that your activities reflect your values. That's how you stop living by default and start living by design. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is filled with intentional mornings. Not perfect ones, intentional ones. Mornings where you choose structure over chaos, clarity over confusion, and focus over fear. It's easy to underestimate the power of a single morning, but success is not one grand event. It's the accumulation of small disciplined days, guided by vision. You don't need to change your whole life in one moment. You need to change how you approach your morning. That one shift will multiply into weeks, months, and eventually a transformed life. You become the kind of person who lives from the future backward, starting each day with the end in mind. And here's the truth. No one will care about your vision more than you do. No one will fight for your future if you don't. So you must take ownership. You must guard your mornings as sacred, because that first hour is not just about productivity, it's about identity. It's where you decide who you are, what you value, and how you will show up in the world. A person with vision doesn't stumble through the day, they step into it with strategy and certainty. So don't just wake up with vision. See your life as it could be, and then discipline yourself to move toward it. Let your vision speak louder than your fears, louder than your fatigue, and louder than the voices around you. Your future is waiting on the other side of your morning decisions. Let vision lead the way, and discipline will follow. Starting your day with gratitude is one of the most powerful choices you can make. Gratitude is not just a feeling, it is a mindset.
a weapon, and a discipline. It shifts your perspective, strengthens your spirit, and aligns your focus with what is working rather than what is missing. In the morning, your mind is at its most impressionable. What you choose to dwell on in those first moments can set the emotional and mental tone for your entire day. When you begin with gratitude, you take control of that tone. You tell your day how to feel before it tells you how to react. Many people begin their mornings with anxiety, replaying the problems of yesterday or anticipating the challenges of today. They start with complaints, stress, or dread. But when you start with gratitude, you flip the script. You break the power of fear and negativity by focusing on what is good, what is working, and what you've already overcome. Gratitude doesn't deny that problems exist. It simply refuses to give them the power to define your mindset. Gratitude strengthens resilience. When you train your heart and mind to find something to be thankful for, even in difficulty, you build emotional endurance. You teach yourself that you are not at the mercy of circumstances. You may not control everything around you, but you do control how you see it. Gratitude gives you the ability to see the same situation differently, and that difference changes everything. What others see as a burden, you begin to see as a blessing in disguise. What others see as loss, you see as a lesson. In a world that constantly tells you what you lack, what you need, what you're missing, what you must fix, gratitude reminds you of what you already have. It quiets the noise of comparison. It silences the voice of scarcity. When you wake up and thank God for breath in your lungs, strength in your body, opportunities ahead of you, and wisdom gained from your past, you realign your heart with abundance. You realize that life is not about chasing more, it's about stewarding what you've been given with excellence. Practicing gratitude in the morning also has a physiological impact. Science supports what wisdom has always known. Gratitude lowers stress, increases serotonin, and improves your overall sense of well-being. But more than that, it awakens your spiritual sensitivity. It reconnects you to your source. When you say thank you in the morning, you're not just being polite, you're positioning yourself in humility. You're acknowledging that you are not the center of the universe, but a recipient of grace and favor. That posture attracts peace. You can make gratitude a daily habit in practical ways. Start by writing down 3 things you're thankful for each morning. They don't have to be grand or dramatic. Often the most powerful gratitude comes from recognizing the ordinary gifts, the quiet of the morning, the warmth of a shower, the love of a family member, the chance to try again. Speak your gratitude out loud. Let your ears hear what your heart believes. The spoken word reinforces your inner attitude. Gratitude is also a form of spiritual warfare. It defies the enemy of your soul, who wants you to focus on lack, fear, and frustration. When you choose gratitude, you choose victory. You resist the temptation to complain. You rise above victimhood. You remember that while life may be unpredictable, your attitude is not a hostage to it. Gratitude puts you back in a place of power. Make no mistake, gratitude is not always easy. There will be mornings when everything in you wants to focus on what's wrong. That's precisely when gratitude is most necessary. Gratitude is not for the good days only. It is for the hard days, especially. It is how you take control of your inner world when your outer world feels uncertain. It is how you keep your perspective grounded, your heart soft, and your spirit strong. So when you open your eyes tomorrow morning, pause. Don't rush into the demands of the day. Before you reach for your phone, reach inward. Find one thing, even just one, to be grateful for. Let that gratitude fill your thoughts, shape your words, and guide your actions, because a grateful heart is a powerful heart, and a powerful heart builds a powerful life. Gratitude is not just how you start the day, it's how you win the day. The moment you open your eyes in the morning, you are standing at the gateway of potential. Every day is a gift, a blank page waiting for you to write the next chapter of your life. But far too many people stumble into their day without intention, living on autopilot, reacting instead of creating. Purposeful planning in the morning is how you shift from passive existence to active leadership. When you take time to plan your day, you take authority over it. You don't let the day happen to you, you happen to the day. Planning is not just about writing a to-do list, it's about aligning your time with your values. It is how you make sure that what you do today reflects who you are becoming. A powerful life is not built by chance, it is built by choice. And the most effective choices are made when your mind is still fresh, uncluttered, and focused. That's why morning is the ideal time to plan. It's when your energy is high, your distractions are low, and your ability to prioritize is strongest. When you wake up and begin your day with purposeful planning, you move from being busy to being effective. There's a difference. Busy people fill their schedules. Effective people focus on impact. Planning helps you filter what's urgent from what's important. It forces you to ask, what really matters today? What is the one thing I can do that will move me closer to my vision? This kind of clarity doesn't come by accident. It comes through intentional thought. One of the most effective habits you can develop is to set aside just 10 to 15 minutes each morning to look at your day and structure it. Ask yourself, what are my top priorities today? Where should my energy be focused? Who do I need to connect with? What are the potential distractions I must guard against? These questions create awareness, and awareness is the first step toward It's also important to plan with flexibility. Purposeful planning is not about rigid control, it's about intentional direction. Life is unpredictable, interruptions will come, but when you've started your day with a plan, you're better equipped to pivot without losing momentum. You know your main objectives, so even if the schedule shifts, your focus remains. That's the power of planning. It gives you anchors in the midst of chaos. Morning planning also has a psychological impact. It reduces anxiety and increases confidence. When your day has structure, your mind has peace. You're not constantly wondering what's next or feeling overwhelmed by everything you forgot. You've mapped it out. You've given your day a skeleton, and now you can fill it with excellence. Planning eliminates decision fatigue, allowing you to conserve energy for what truly matters. Spiritually, planning is an act of stewardship. Time is one of the most valuable gifts you've been given, and how you manage it reflects your honor for it. Planning your day is a way of saying, I value this time, I refuse to waste it, I will use it to grow, serve, build, and contribute. Even if your entire plan doesn't unfold perfectly, the act of planning positions your heart in the right posture, one of purpose, responsibility, and expectation. Another key element of purposeful planning is alignment with long-term goals. It's easy to get caught up in daily tasks and forget the bigger picture, but when you begin your day with a glance toward your future, your decisions carry more weight. You begin to ask, does this task help me grow in my calling? Does this action reflect my values? Am I moving forward, or just moving? This kind of reflection turns planning into a sacred practice, not just a productivity tool, but a compass for your life. Purposeful planning also breeds consistency, and consistency over time creates transformation. A single planned day may seem small, but when stacked over weeks and months, it creates a life of focus and progress. You start to see results, not because you worked harder, but because you worked smarter. Planning brings intention to your efforts and multiplies their effect. So tomorrow morning, before you dive into the rush of the day, pause, take ownership, look at your schedule, list your priorities, visualize your desired outcomes, declare that your day will not be wasted, it will be led, because the life you dream of is not built in the future, it is built in the mornings. One plan, one decision, one purpose-driven day at a time. The morning is the most strategic time to win the battle of the mind. It is in those early hours, when the world is still quiet and your thoughts are still forming, that your mental state is most vulnerable and most powerful. What you allow into your mind during that window determines the direction of your thinking, your mood, and ultimately your behavior. If you want to change your life, you must first change your thoughts, and the most effective place to begin is in the morning. Your mind is a battle, and every day begins with a fight for your focus. The thoughts you entertain in those first moments after waking up become the foundation of your mindset for the rest of the day. If you allow fear, worry, or self-doubt to take root early, they will color everything you do. But if you deliberately choose thoughts of faith, courage, clarity, and purpose, you begin to walk in mental authority. That authority isn't based on feeling, it's based on decision. You decide what your mind will dwell on, and in doing so, you shape the world you experience. The challenge is that most people do not guard their thoughts. They wake up and immediately open their phones, letting in the opinions of others, the pressures of news headlines, or the noise of social media. By the time they've brushed their teeth, their minds are already distracted, scattered, and overwhelmed. But your mind is a garden. Whatever you plant there will grow. If you start the day by planting weeds, don't be surprised when your peace is choked out before lunch. But if you start by planting seeds of truth, gratitude, vision, and strength, you'll harvest clarity and resilience. Winning the battle of the mind requires intentional discipline. One powerful habit is to begin each morning with affirmation statements that align your thinking with your identity and your purpose. These are not wishful slogans, they are declarations of who you are and who you are becoming. When you speak truth to your mind, you train it to reject lies. When you repeat your values and goals, you reinforce your direction, and over time, your thoughts become a tool, not a trap. Another critical strategy is to expose your mind to wisdom early, whether through reading, listening to inspiring messages, or reflecting on scripture. Filling your mind with truth at the start of the day gives you a mental advantage. It creates a buffer against the negativity that will try to seep in later. When your first thoughts are centered and grounded, you are less reactive, more focused, and better able to discern what matters. Mental clarity is not something you stumble into, it's something you prepare for. It's also important to recognize the connection between your thoughts and your emotions. How you feel is often a direct result of what you've been thinking. So if you want to master your emotions, start by mastering your mind. If you wake up and say, "Today is going to be overwhelming," your emotions will follow that belief. But if you say, "Today I will walk in strength and focus," your emotions will begin to align with that declaration. Your thoughts are not powerless, they are the architects of your reality.
Winning the battle of the mind is not a one-time event. It's a daily, even hourly practice. Thoughts will come, some helpful, some harmful, but you are not obligated to entertain every thought that shows up. You have the power to choose. You can reject the thoughts that limit you and replace them with thoughts that elevate you. You can starve fear by feeding faith. You can silence worry by speaking peace. This is the essence of mental leadership. What you think about yourself in the morning shapes how you show up throughout the day. If your thoughts are filled with doubt, you will shrink back. If they are filled with confidence and purpose, you will rise to the challenge. That's why you must treat your mind like a fortress. Protect it, guard its gates, and fill it with strength. Because when your mind is clear, your decisions are wise. When your thoughts are focused, your actions are effective. So every morning, declare victory in your mind. Refuse to begin the day with clutter and confusion. Center yourself in truth, in vision, in purpose. Because if you win the morning battle in your mind, the rest of the day will follow. Your life is always moving in the direction of your strongest thoughts. Choose those thoughts with care, and your life will rise to meet them.